Welcome to HardScript.
Help me reach 5,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. She said, "You're lucky I haven't left yet." By Friday, she was explaining to friends why I had. My name's Ryan Cole, 38, senior data analyst for a cybersecurity firm in Austin. I fix things that don't work, servers, networks, broken systems. Lately, that included my marriage. Mara's a social media strategist. Lives through her phone. Her day starts with iced coffee from Starbucks, ends with ring lights and filters. I used to think her world was harmless noise, likes, comments, dopamine loops. Then I realized I'd been replaced by her audience. It started small. A gym membership she said she needed for stress relief. A personal trainer named Derek. I met him once. Firm handshake, empty eyes. He was the kind of man who complimented your wife while looking directly at you, as if testing boundaries. We saw him at Target one Saturday. He called her champ. She laughed, touching his arm. I told myself it was nothing. Monday night, I came home from work and saw 2 wine glasses in the sink. Only one had lipstick. She said Vanessa had come over. Vanessa doesn't drink red wine. By Wednesday, I'd stopped asking questions. Asking only feeds the lie. Instead, I started watching. Quietly, I built a living auditing systems, tracing invisible footprints, login histories, GPS metadata, phone backups. I wasn't about to lose to a man who sells protein powder on Instagram. First, I installed a home automation update through our shared account, routine maintenance, nothing suspicious. It gave me access to the living room camera feed and motion history. Then I linked her iPhone backups to iCloud on my MacBook. Routine sync, she'd agreed years ago. She forgot. I didn't. That night, she told me I'd become distant. Said, "You used to care what I was doing." I nodded. "You're right." She smiled, thinking she'd won. I was already pulling metadata from her photos. Thursday morning, I found what I needed. A video posted to her story, 20 seconds long. Just her reflection in the gym mirror, sweat, smile, morning grind. But the data didn't lie. The timestamp was 6:42 a.m. The gym opens at 7. GPS showed her at a house 7 blocks away. Derek's. I didn't confront her. I never do that. I document. That night, she told me Derek was hosting a client appreciation dinner. "You wouldn't like it," she said, scrolling Amazon for new heels. "Probably not," I said. I booked a dinner for one at Applebee's instead. Bourbon Street steak, quiet booth, 1 drink. My mind was somewhere else. When I got home, her car wasn't in the driveway. The Ford F-150 next door wasn't either, Derek's truck. The motion alert from the living room camera showed her walking in at 12:37 a.m., barefoot, hair wet. She moved like someone trying not to wake the dead. Friday morning, she poured herself coffee and said it, the line that started everything. "You're lucky I haven't left yet." I looked at her for a long second. "Yeah," I said. "I am." That night, she was at a bar telling friends why I'd left her. Technically, she wasn't lying. By then, I already had. Her story spread fast. By Saturday, mutual friends texted me things like, "Hang in there," and "She just needs space." That's how betrayal works now. Digitally curated sympathy, built on half-truths and filters. I didn't respond. I was already shifting focus from discovery to execution. My plan wasn't emotional. It was systematic. Quiet. Mara and I shared more than a mortgage and a Wi-Fi network. Our digital lives were tangled, shared accounts, linked storage, connected calendars. I'd built those systems. She just used them. And when she started erasing messages, I noticed immediately. Every deleted chat left a log, a fingerprint. By Sunday, I'd recovered the fragments, screenshots, metadata, cloud remnants. Enough to tell the story she thought she'd buried. The messages were casual at first, then more personal, then explicit. I didn't need to read them all to understand the pattern. Affection, validation, rehearsal. She was scripting a new life while rehearsing the end of ours. I didn't react. Instead, I categorized everything: timestamps, locations, attached media. I created a folder labeled System Backup. It sat quietly on my desktop next to a spreadsheet of our shared finances, showing every expense tied to her accounts. Gym memberships, salon visits, hotel bookings, all synced to the same credit card I paid off each month. On Monday, I transferred $5,000 from our joint savings to my private account, just enough to cover a deposit for a new apartment when the time came. She wouldn't notice. She never checked balances, just posted motivational quotes about independence. That evening, she stood in the kitchen scrolling TikTok, laughing at something I didn't hear. I watched her reflection in the dark window, the blue light painting her face. She looked content, detached, like she'd already moved on. While she laughed, I wiped my digital presence from her life, logged out of shared photo albums, unlinked my Apple ID, disabled location sharing. One by one, the quiet ties disappeared. She didn't notice, too busy curating her story. By midnight, my phone buzzed with a new notification. Her private account, one she didn't know I could see, posted a story. A dinner table, 2 wine glasses, Derek's reflection blurred in the background. Caption: peace feels like this. I sat in the dark and smiled once. It wasn't peace. It was a countdown. And by the time she realized what I was doing, I wouldn't exist in her world anymore, online or off. Tuesday morning, I woke before dawn. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional buzz of her phone charging on the counter. I watched it light up every few minutes. Notifications, messages, dopamine. The world wanted her attention, and she gave it freely. I left for work early, though work was just an excuse now. My real project was precision. I'd already mirrored her phone to my encrypted drive, collected the proof, and cataloged every digital trail. What remained was extraction, clean and irreversible. At the office, I sat through meetings without hearing a word. My mind was tracing code, where our lives overlapped, what needed to be severed first. Shared accounts, cloud drives, streaming subscriptions, insurance policies. Every small tether that tied her chaos to my structure. I wasn't erasing her out of spite. I was restoring balance. By noon, I transferred our utilities into her name, canceled auto-pay from my account, removed my cards from Amazon and Hulu. She'd notice eventually, probably when deliveries stopped arriving. I didn't care. The silence of her confusion would be its own kind of justice. That night, she came home late, smelling faintly of men's cologne and something expensive. Chanel, maybe. She looked beautiful, detached, like someone auditioning for a role she'd already been offered. She asked if I wanted to watch Netflix. I said I was tired. She shrugged, poured wine, and disappeared into the glow of her phone. While she posted a filtered photo of her glass, I packed small things quietly. External drives, chargers, my watch, my favorite mug from the office. Nothing dramatic. Just inventory control. My version of self-respect. Before bed, I checked her social again. A photo of a dinner plate, captioned New Beginnings. The GPS tag placed her at the same restaurant Derek frequented. The pattern was complete. I didn't confront her. Confrontation is noise. I prefer signals. When she fell asleep, I took one last look at her face illuminated by her screen. For a moment, I remembered the girl I met 8 years ago, the one who used to talk instead of perform. But nostalgia's just another form of denial. I opened my laptop and renamed the folder on my desktop. System backup became closure. Then I powered it down, for good. By Wednesday, she started sensing distance. Not physical, but digital. Her texts came slower, her calls unanswered. The algorithm she lived for, engagement, attention, validation, was beginning to starve. I watched it happen from across the room while pretending to scroll through my own phone. She looked nervous, restless, refreshing her notifications like she was checking her pulse. At lunch, I moved the final pieces into place. I archived our shared Google Drive, every vacation photo, every memory she thought defined us, and uploaded the private copy to a secure server under my name only. I wasn't planning to use it against her. It was proof that what we had existed, even if she later tried to rewrite it. In digital terms, it was version control. That afternoon, she called from her car, voice bright, too rehearsed. She said she wanted to reconnect, maybe have dinner together at Olive Garden, somewhere familiar. I agreed. I needed her calm, predictable. At the restaurant, she talked about work, her clients, some influencer campaign. Her phone buzzed 3 times on the table. Each time, she flipped it face down, smiling too easily. I listened, nodded, asked nothing. She mistook my silence for surrender. When the check came, she reached for her wallet out of habit. I stopped her gently. I've got it. She thanked me, unaware I was paying with a card she no longer had access to. Back home, she posted a photo of the empty wine glass, captioned, "Sometimes it's worth fighting for." Comments flooded in. Hearts, encouragement, false empathy. Her performance was flawless, but she didn't notice her account had lost access to the backup email. I'd changed it earlier that day. By midnight, I began the wipe. Phone unlinked from her iCloud. Contacts exported, accounts closed. Every trace of my name, my data, my history, gone from her system. To her world, I became a ghost file. She fell asleep beside me, phone still glowing faintly on her chest. Notifications kept coming. I watched the light flicker against the wall, a silent strobe of disconnection. At 2 a.m., I powered off my phone, deleted every thread between us, and placed it face down on the nightstand. Not as a gesture, as a statement. By sunrise, she'd still have her followers. But not me. Thursday morning felt strangely light. The air was clear, quiet, like the system after a reboot. She moved through the kitchen distracted, phone in hand, frowning at something she couldn't quite place. Her messages weren't syncing. Her photos weren't loading. The cloud she'd lived inside had started dissolving, and she didn't know why. She asked if I'd noticed anything wrong with the Wi-Fi. I said it seemed fine. She nodded absently, scrolling faster, the panic spreading beneath her calm surface. Every influencer fears the same thing: disappearance. Losing visibility. Losing proof that they exist. By noon, she was on her laptop, cursing softly. Password errors, verification loops. I watched from my office across the hall, pretending to work. Her reflection in the glass looked small now, disconnected from her world of filters and followers. That afternoon, I received an email confirmation from our bank. Final transfer complete, account separation verified. Financially, we were two separate systems now. No shared funds, no shared obligations. Just data partitioned cleanly, like I preferred it. She spent the rest of the day resetting passwords, calling customer support, texting friends for help. Every solution made the problem worse. She was trying to fix symptoms without understanding the architecture. Her digital life was breaking at the foundation. When she came into my office, she leaned against the doorframe, tired. She said she felt like everything was falling apart lately, that she couldn't explain it. I looked up, met her eyes, and said nothing. Silence can be more precise than words. That night, she went to the gym again. Derek's Ford F-150 was parked in the same spot it always was, angled like it owned the space. I watched through the car's reflection as they laughed outside the entrance. Then they disappeared inside. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I already knew how the story ended for them. The same way all systems crash, predictably. Back home, I finished the last step. I deleted our shared calendar, cleared reminders, and removed her as an emergency contact. The sound of the final confirmation, "Are you sure?" felt almost peaceful. Yes, I was sure. When she came home later that night, everything looked the same. But she didn't realize the truth yet. She wasn't living with me anymore. She was living with my absence, shaped exactly like me. By Friday morning, her reflection looked different. Not broken, just blurry, like the filter had finally cracked. She sat at the kitchen counter, scrolling through her phone, thumb trembling slightly. I watched her refresh her accounts again and again, waiting for something to reappear. Nothing did. She didn't realize it yet, but her life online had already gone dark. The backups she depended on, photos, posts, contacts, all of it was gone. I hadn't deleted anything. I'd simply archived her public world into private silence. She'd been living for an audience. Now, she was performing for no one. At work, I turned in my resignation. 2 weeks' notice, no drama. My boss asked if everything was okay. I said it was. He didn't need to know. I was already 3 steps ahead. A new job offer sat unread in my inbox. Remote, high-paying, quiet. Perfect for a man about to disappear. That afternoon, I visited the apartment I'd rented under my name. Sparse, clean, quiet walls, and one window overlooking downtown Austin. I placed my laptop on the counter and connected to the new Wi-Fi. The signal was strong. The silence, stronger. Back home, she was sitting on the couch, staring at a blank Instagram login screen. She asked if I'd ever felt like my whole life was slipping away. I told her sometimes systems fail not because of corruption, but because they were never designed to last. She frowned, not understanding. She never did. That night, she went to meet a friend for drinks. I didn't ask who. Instead, I cooked dinner for one, ate quietly, washed my plate, and packed the last of my things. Her laughter echoed faintly from the living room as she left, nervous, forced. When the door closed, I walked through each room one last time. Bedroom, office, kitchen. I paused by the counter where her Starbucks cup still sat half full. The logo faced me, the same way she used to, always performing, always needing to be seen. I left my house key next to it. No note, no explanation, just silence, the only language she'd never learned to speak. By midnight, I was gone. Not blocked, not ghosted, just deleted. The first night alone felt cleaner than I expected. I slept without dreams, without the constant glow of her notifications leaking through the dark. The air in the new apartment was still and honest. No perfume, no fake laughter echoing from another room. Just the hum of the fridge and my own breathing. Saturday morning, I walked to a nearby Waffle House. The waitress called me Han and poured coffee without asking. It was the first human conversation I'd had that wasn't layered in subtext. Outside, the city felt sharper. Every noise real. Every silence earned. By noon, her first text arrived. "Where are you?" I didn't answer. Then another. "Are you doing this to punish me?" Still nothing. Silence isn't cruelty. It's clarity. She'd spent years filling every pause with noise, posts, validation, attention. Now she was alone with the quiet she'd built herself. Around 3, I got an email from our mutual friend, Jenna. She said Mara was confused and scared, that she didn't understand what happened. I almost typed a response but deleted it. She didn't need explanations. She needed consequences. That evening, I logged into her profile one last time. She'd posted a photo of herself at the gym, forced smile, captioned, "Sometimes we lose people, and sometimes they lose us." The comments were full of sympathy, advice, hollow support. I noticed something else though. The likes were down. Engagement dropping fast. The algorithm was moving on without her. I watched her digital world fade the way systems do when the data feeding them stops. No updates. No energy. Just decay. At sunset, I drove past our old house. Her car was in the driveway, trunk open, boxes stacked near the porch. Maybe she thought moving things around could fix something. I didn't stop. Back at the apartment, I poured a drink and opened the laptop. The folder closure sat there, untouched. Proof. Not for revenge. For record-keeping. Every file was labeled, organized, archived. Evidence of how something slowly breaks when no one's paying attention. Before midnight, she called once. Then again. I let both ring out. The silence between us wasn't anger anymore. It was the system finally stabilizing after years of corrupted input. And I wasn't going to interfere. By Sunday, her messages had changed tone. The confidence was gone, replaced by short sentences that sounded more like questions than statements. "I just want to talk. You can't just disappear like this. Please answer me." I read them all and replied to none. Silence isn't absence. It's control. That afternoon, she showed up at my office. I saw her through the glass doors, same outfit from her last post. Makeup perfect, eyes desperate. She waited by the receptionist desk for half an hour before leaving. My team thought she was a client. No one knew she used to be my wife. When I returned home, another message waited on my voicemail. She said she missed me, that Derek wasn't who she thought he was, that everything between them had already fallen apart. Her voice cracked on the last sentence, like she was realizing something too late. I didn't need revenge. Life was already handling that. The same audience she'd built for validation was now watching her unravel in real time. People can sense desperation through a screen. Her posts were getting shorter, her filters heavier. By evening, she deleted half her feed. Digital erasure, primitive, emotional, ineffective. I made dinner, simple and quiet. Pasta, cheap red wine, no conversation. I didn't check my phone. I'd stopped caring about her notifications weeks ago. The silence around me had become addictive, like a soundproof room after years of noise. Later that night, I got a text from Jenna again. She said Mara had been crying at the gym, that Derek had moved on already. I just typed one line back. Some systems aren't meant to recover after a crash. Jenna didn't reply. Around midnight, I opened Closure again. Scrolled through photos, messages, the timeline of our breakdown. There was no anger left. Only precision. I selected everything and encrypted it permanently. No deletion, no recovery. Just sealed. Then I backed it up to a separate drive, labeled it archive, and placed it in a locked drawer. Not as a threat, as history. The next morning, I woke to another text from her. I wish you'd just talk to me. I turned off the phone and set it face down on the table. Some people scream to be heard. I've learned the quiet speaks louder. A week passed before I saw her again. It wasn't planned. I stopped by the old neighborhood to drop off some mail that had been misdelivered, and there she was, standing in the driveway, staring at the house like it belonged to someone else. Her hair was tied up, no makeup this time, phone hanging loose in her hand. For a moment, she didn't even notice me. When she finally looked up, her face froze. She started walking toward me, then stopped halfway, as if afraid of how small the distance had become. She said she'd been trying to reach me. Said she just wanted to talk. I told her she already had. Every post, every photo, every word she'd ever shared was a conversation she chose with everyone but me. She said she'd made a mistake, that she missed who we used to be. I didn't answer right away. The silence between us stretched, heavy and clean. Then I said the only thing that mattered. You loved attention more than you ever loved me. Her eyes filled, but I didn't flinch. Behind her, Derek's Ford F-150 wasn't in the driveway anymore. The space looked wider than before. Emptier. She told me he'd gone back to his ex. That people at the gym had started whispering about her. She said she couldn't stand the looks, the pity. I believed her. Public humiliation is the only kind that ever teaches. I left the envelope with the mail in her hands and turned to leave. She called after me, said she didn't understand how I could just walk away like that. I told her I wasn't walking away. I'd already walked through. That night, she posted something new, a blank black square with the caption, "Taking a break to heal." The comments were predictable. Encouragement, pity, emojis. But the engagement was gone. Her followers had moved on. The performance was over. I watched that post for a long moment, then closed the app. She'd finally reached the silence I'd been living in. The difference was, I'd built mine with intention. Hers had arrived as consequence. When systems fail, there's always a final alert before they shut down completely. For her, that post was it. For me, it was confirmation. I'd finished what I started, without saying a word. 2 months passed. No messages. No updates. Just silence, exactly how I designed it. She had vanished from social media, deleted her accounts, maybe out of shame, maybe exhaustion. It didn't matter. The world she'd built from likes and filters had collapsed under its own weight. I hadn't seen her since that day in the driveway. Sometimes, though, the past echoes in small ways. A forgotten sweater in a moving box. A faint scent of her perfume on old documents. But it doesn't sting anymore. It's just residual data. Ghost traces of a system that's already been wiped. My new apartment became a reflection of that clean state. No photos, no noise, no clutter. Every corner deliberate. I worked remote now, consulting for a security firm out of Seattle. My days were structured, predictable. The kind of peace that doesn't ask for applause. One morning, while having coffee at the small diner down the street, I saw a familiar notification pop up on my phone. A new message request. It was her. The profile was blank. No picture, just a single line of text. I understand now. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Understanding came too late, and too quietly to change anything. I deleted the message, finished my coffee, and went back to my day. That evening, I drove out to Lake Travis, parked near the water, and sat for a while watching the sun drop behind the hills. The quiet there felt different. Not absence, not loneliness, balance. For years, I tried to fix what was broken between us, like faulty code. But some systems aren't meant to be repaired. They're meant to be replaced. I took out my phone, scrolled to the last photo we'd ever taken together, and looked at it for the first time since I'd left. 2 smiling faces, sunlight, illusion. I deleted it without hesitation. Then I looked out at the water one more time and said nothing. There was nothing left to say. She once told me silence made her uncomfortable. That's because she never understood what it meant. Silence isn't emptiness. It's control. It's truth. And that's all I ever wanted. To live in a world quiet enough to finally hear myself again. Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise even more interesting stories.